Hey everybody, BrickLover18 here today, back with another episode of Between the Bricks. I haven't filmed one of these episodes in so long, so I'm excited to be here today to tell you all about a story that happened to me a few months ago. I wanted to wait because you'll understand kind of why in the video why I wanted to wait on this. But today, I'm really excited to tell you about the story of me selling Lego to a millionaire. And I'm not talking just somebody who's got a little bit of money, I'm talking about holy crap millionaire money. So, let's get right into it. Alright, so let me set the stage here. So like many of you know, I'm a BrickLink seller. I sell very casually in addition to my LEGO YouTube channel. I have a very small store. It doesn't have very many parts. So as such, most of my orders are pretty small, both, size-wise and monetary-wise. Like, it is just a way to supplement some income. However, I got an order a couple months ago that was a pretty decent size. It wasn't quite 1,000 pieces, but that's pretty large considering I only have 25,000 parts in my store. It was a pretty decent, monetary value as well. I was like, okay, cool, this is exciting. I love getting orders like this. I went in to invoice them and estimate the shipping cost. So I clicked in on the order and took a look. And first off, right away, the name, it flagged with me. Right away, I recognized the name. But I didn't know from where. I knew it was definitely not somebody I actually know in my personal life, and I was trying to think. I'm like, oh, this, and it's a Canadian address, by the way. So I was like, is this a Canadian YouTuber? Is this like, why do I recognize this name? I was racking my brain. I was like, I don't think it's a YouTuber, somebody I know in the LEGO community. There's not many other Canadians here. I just had no idea. So I was like, interesting. But like, you just know sometimes when that name sounds familiar. I look too, this person has never ordered from me before, because sometimes that happens. Like, I'll be writing a shipping label and I'll be like, this name or this address kind of seems familiar in the back of my head. But yeah, this is somebody, first time buyer at my store, and the name was just slightly familiar. And I was like, okay. But I didn't spend too much time processing it because I have to estimate them for their shipping. So I scroll down to check out their address and see where I'll be shipping this package to. And that's when I saw it. I was like, I know that address. That sounds familiar. And I've never been there before, and I want to clarify that. It's not like that kind of familiarity. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Toronto, where I live, it's divided into neighborhoods, like many large cities are, similar to New York, how it's divided into boroughs. And you can kind of tell based on what street or like what intersection someone says they live at, what neighborhood they're in, and kind of what buildings are in that neighborhood. Like, obviously, some neighborhoods, super high end, beautiful buildings. Some are lower end with older buildings, government assistance, stuff like that. And then there's, of course, the ones in the middle. I recognize this address right away as being one of the ones that was in one of the highest end neighborhoods in downtown Toronto. Like, I'm talking beautiful buildings everywhere, all the brand name stores. Like, I'm not going to say what neighborhood it is because I don't want to expose this person too much. I already feel like they're making this video is telling too much. But anyone from Toronto will probably recognize the neighborhood that I'm talking about. I knew right away that this building was in that neighborhood, and I even looked at the apartment. It was a condo building, and it was a penthouse suite. So you just know right away. I'm like, wow, this guy's got money, because it's a beautiful neighborhood, one of the most expensive in Toronto, with a penthouse suite. It's not unit like 302 or whatever. It's a penthouse. So now with that and with the name being familiar, I'm like, okay, why do I know this person? So now I'm not letting it go. So I Google the person's name, and to my surprise, a bunch of news articles about them came up. And it turns out that they are a millionaire living in Toronto, and I mean like a millionaire, with money. And they were a businessman. And they basically, I'm not going to say what their business was because, like I said, I don't want to expose this person. I don't think that's very kind. But I do want to tell this story because I was quite excited and quite surprised. So as soon as I Googled them and went, oh my God, that's why I recognize their name. Like, I've seen them in the news. I've read about them. I've heard about them. I'm a business student in Toronto. So, like, they are familiar to me. So I was like, wow, that's actually pretty exciting. So I was excited not only because a millionaire is buying Lego from me, a small Lego YouTuber and small BrickLinker, but also because, first off, I love when people order from me that live in Toronto because, when I'm in my little bubble here, locked away in my Lego room, sometimes it feels like I'm the only Lego collector in the city. So I love when I find out that there's more than just me, but also because I'm like, wow, this guy is a millionaire. He's got more money than anyone really needs, yet he's still choosing to like love Lego, which I thought was really cool. I instantly started imagining, what would his house look like? Does he have Lego everywhere? I've got my Lego room here that I'm really proud of, but also in my condo, I've got a few of my favorite Lego sets. So I was only imagining like him having like all the most expensive sets in like glass cabinets, glass display cases. Maybe he's got a whole Lego room himself. Like, I have no idea. There was honestly so many questions that I wanted to ask him. But I was just like, wow, this is so weird. I shouldn't have Googled you. Like, you're a millionaire. I'm a creep. I looked at his apartment. It was beautiful. Like, the pool I thought was the condo pool, but nope, that's his personal pool in his personal penthouse suite. I'm absolutely amazing. So I'm like, wow, this guy better have the coolest Lego room ever. And I was so curious to know, like, obviously he's a mock builder. So I'm like, do millionaires have time to build mocks? Like, that's really cool. You know, that's probably what he does kind of in his spare time. But whatever. I was super excited. I was like, wow, this is pretty neat. Because like I said, I love when people from Toronto order from me because it shows that there are more Lego collectors out there in the city than just me. And then when I found out this guy was also a millionaire ordering from me and buying Lego and building with Lego, I was like, wow, that's goals. I want to be a millionaire someday and I want to still love Lego as much. And I was like dying to know kind of what his collection and stuff like that was going to be like. So yeah, basically I sent him his invoice for shipping. The shipping was really expensive because it was a larger order. So he was like, hey, can I just come pick this up instead? Because, you know, I'm like, oh, wow, you're going to come to my house because mine is not a $12 million penthouse in a beautiful building. It's in a, you know, it's in one of those middle neighborhoods that's becoming nice, but it's not quite nice yet. It's right where I go to school. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sounds good. So we coordinated or whatever. And you know, now I have this guy's number. We were texting trying to figure out when he was gonna come pick it up. I was like, cool, is this guy gonna come like himself to pick it up? Is he gonna like send his assistant? Because I've dealt with that before too. In the Lego store, one time I was working there, this guy came in with his kid and they were picking out all the different sets and he's like, yeah, take that one, take that one. And I was putting behind the counter and he's like, will you hold on to it for a minute? My assistant's at the next store. He's just gonna come in and pay for everything. I'm gonna take my kid out to the next store. And I was like, you have an assistant that's gonna come and buy the Lego for you, and then you're gonna like, okay, cool, this is cool, sounds good. And the assistant had the VIP card and everything, so I didn't know. I'm like, is that this case here? Is this guy gonna come with like an assistant, like whatnot? Anyway, he does come to my house. He picks up the set. He was super nice. We chatted for a minute, just like I would with any customer coming in to do a pickup. I do it quite often for people who live in Toronto. Sometimes people are more chatty. Sometimes people just want to pick up their stuff and get the heck out of here. This guy was pretty nice. He told me he was more recently into Lego and like building art things with it. And I thought that was really cool. And we struck a little conversation. Of course, he was a few years old, several years older than me. So we obviously weren't going to become best friends after that. And then he left, and that was the end of it. That was the whole interaction. But I just thought it was really cool because it just goes to show that Lego's one of those things that no matter how much money you have or anything like that, like you can be a Lego collector. You go to Lego conventions and you know there's hidden, you know, you see people who are struggling, you know, every last penny is going into, you know, food, rent and stuff like that, but they're diehard Lego collectors. And then you see people that have more money than the world can imagine and they're still diehard Lego collectors. And I think that's just really cool that it's such, you know, a versatile thing, and you just honestly you never know who's into Lego and who's into this toy, this interlocking brick system that we all know and love. It's not just kids and nerdy people who live in their parents' basement. It is successful people, millionaires, people who live in $12 million penthouse condos in downtown Toronto who have done amazing business deals and who you'd probably recognize if I said the name, but I'm not going to do that. And I would never expect this person to be a Lego collector when I look at them and read their articles and the stuff that they've done and their accomplishments. So it was a really, really cool experience. Throughout the whole time, I was pretty excited about it. I was texting my dad. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a millionaire. My dad's like, see if he'll give you a job. Thanks, Dad. Such a dad thing to say. But yeah, it was just a really cool thing. I love, like I said, I'll emphasize this enough because I don't want this story to make it seem like I'm gossiping. I always love when I see people in Toronto that are Lego collectors, but even more so when I see super successful people like that, you know, all finding love and stuff like that in the exact same hobby. I just thought it was cool, and it humbled me too because I was like, yeah, it's not just nerdy kids and people who live in their parents' basement. It is really successful people who are also into this brick system. So it was just really neat, and I thought it was a really fun experience. I hope he never sees this video. That's why I made it a few months to make this, because I don't want to expose this poor man's privacy. He was very nice and very kind, but it was just really, really cool to see this and hear about this and read this and live this and meet this person, because I was like, wow, I've literally seen you in the news and now I'm trying not to fangirl. I never acted like I knew who he was. I never acted, you know, the whole time he came. I was just super chill, super quiet, and I was like, cool, here, you like Lego? Yeah, me too. I got a whole Lego room. You should come and see my not $12 million apartment. Like, I'm genuinely really curious to see what his Lego collection would be like. Like, I feel like there's two ends of the spectrum. There's either he's got a really cool collection that's massive, beautifully sorted, like, I'm talking glass shelves, specialized drawers, things like that. Or he's got more of a small side collection with just like a few things here and there, and then like display pieces. Like, I genuinely don't know what his collection would be like. I'd be so curious to know. But I guess I will never really know because he ordered from me once and we'll have to see. Maybe he'll never order with me again. Maybe I should just email him and be like, hey, I want to see your like little collection. Now he'd probably find that weird. But yeah, it was a really cool experience, really fun, and I just want to show you, tell you about it because I was really excited about it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for checking out this episode of Between the Bricks. You'll have to let me know down in the comments below if you've ever had any experiences like this. Like I said, when I worked at the Lego store, I often had, very wealthy people come in, and sometimes you can tell if they're wealthy, sometimes you can't. Like I said, this guy didn't seem super wealthy that I had at the Lego store, but when he started pulling sets off the shelves like there was no tomorrow based on what his kid wanted, and then he's like, hey, I'll put these behind the counter, my assistant will come in soon and pay for everything, I was like, wow, you got money. That was really cool. That was a cool experience as well. And it's always interesting. I love finding new Lego fans. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Between the Bricks. Let me know down in the comments below if there's any other stories or anything you'd like to hear for the next episode of Between the Bricks, because I haven't done one of these in a while and I want to do more soon. So thanks again so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and of course subscribe. And I'll see you here in the next video.